Guys, welcome back to the channel. We're here with another video, and today we got a bunch of stuff going on. We're actually done with a lot of the projects that we had here at the shop before. Let me show you guys real quick. So the white truck pretty much done. He did end up keeping this fuel cell, but we got all the cables wired up. The fuel pump works now. We got the fuel line wired up. We got these beautiful fittings with high PSI fuel line. Got rid of most of those extra wires that he had and all those extra lines that he had. And now the truck turns on. This truck had actually been sitting for a good 2 years. Not necessarily here. We've only had it for a good month and a half or maybe 2 months. But before that, it sat at somebody's shop for a year, and then after that, another shop for another year, and then ever since then, it hasn't turned on. But we've managed to get it to turn on. There was a couple of wiring problems, a couple of issues, but so far the truck is done. The truck is paid for. It's ready to go home. Just needs a pickup. We're waiting for the tune guy to come back from out of vacation. And when he comes back, it's leaving here and getting the tune so that it can turn on the first hit. As far as this goes, right here we got the K5 Blazer. And we also got a brand new shop fan too. This shop fan works wonders. $400 best, well, more like $450, $450 best spent. Not as hot in here anymore as it was. K5 Blazer. I don't remember if I dropped the video on this one already just yet, but I know we did do the shocks, and we did the shocks on this one with the coilovers, with the QA1s, I'm sorry, and the relocation with the adjustable brackets, so you don't have to worry about them later on. And then we also redid the C-notch, because the C-notch that it had on there before was just a cutout, and I don't know if you can see this or not. I don't know if the camera can get a good angle. Let me see. I don't know if the camera caught that, but yeah, so we did the C-notch on this one. Old perp. We got it washed up the other day. It's looking good. It did rain like 2 or 3 times, but definitely looking a lot better than last week. We actually did rewire. This is an update on this. I rewired some of the wires from my fuel pump. So we ended up replacing the pump again, and we ended up using the Aeromotive, the high-end pump, which is, I think, is the 420 or 450. I want to say it's the 450. So we ended up changing it out to the Aeromotive 450, and that's what we have underneath on that pump now. I ended up changing it thinking that it was the pump, but it wasn't that. It was actually the wiring that was messed up, and I have to rewire up one of those cables over there. I just got to get a chance to work on this one again, but I don't have time for that right now because we got a couple of projects that we're working on. Also, the update with the battery. I know you guys always see me with struggling with the battery on this truck, because I do have a small battery on it. And let me just show you guys what I'm talking about for those that don't know. Since we do have the tubs and all that stuff, it makes it real difficult for you to have a smaller battery. I mean, for you to have like the regular size battery. So we have a small battery up in the front, which is only 500 cranking amps. Really doesn't, 500 cranking amps. This is not enough for a 6.2. I actually did change my my system's fuse, and I went with the Rocker Fosgate. So I bought an actual kit, and that kit itself came with it was the whole wiring kit. It was 0 gauge, and that kit itself came with all new wires and all that stuff. But instead of using that extra wire for going from the battery to the amp. I left the 4-gauge wire that I have on there now, and I decided to use a 0-gauge wire for my battery. So this goes hooked up directly to the back, and then that back battery has its own ground, so it doesn't even need the ground all the way forward. We actually added another ground here, so this is an extra ground that I made that I bolted down to the frame just in case it was lacking ground, because I didn't know what the source of the problem was yet whenever I had that fuel issue. So I added an extra ground, and then this power goes all the way straight to the back. And let me show you the battery on this one. So this one's a small battery, and in the back we have a bigger battery. As you can see, I got extra wire, I got an extra ground cable. Now this battery right here is definitely a lot better, a big improvement compared to how I had it before. Again, I have my ground straight connected to this little ground port that I have right here, and it's just a screw that's welded onto the frame that I did a long time ago, but it definitely came in handy so that I can bolt up my ground there. We are actually going to start working on this as soon as we get some of these projects out from the shop. Most of the stuff, like I said, they're waiting for just pick up. This K5 Blazer is already done. The white truck that's all the way deep inside is already done. We're just waiting on those to leave, and we're gonna finish up Corey's car sometime this week. And as soon as both of them are gone, we're putting in this purple truck again so we can tear it apart. We're actually gonna cut the coilover brackets off. We're gonna cut all the 4-link brackets off. Everything is completely destroyed right now. I've actually been still driving it just like this. We're just taking it real easy. The 4-link brackets are sort of like bent inwards like that from so much force. And I mean, I don't blame the brackets for bending, you know, because we do got these big ass wheels that we are running, and we're doing burnouts and all that crazy kind of stuff. I definitely don't blame the brackets for bending on me, and I'm not mad at that. You know, we're just trying to get this stuff to come out badass so we can keep driving it every day, and so we can keep dogging it, and whatever we got to do, you know, the setup is still reliable. So the best thing for us to do now is just to kind of wait till we get most of these trucks out the shop and start working on it as soon as we get most of the stuff done. And that'll keep track of like most of the shop progress that we got going on. So we actually got these new jack stands too right here that we're gonna use when we start working on the purple truck. We're waiting on the axles for the blue truck. Corey's car is coming down this week, and we're gonna start pretty much putting it back together. Now we got this truck in the shop, and this is what I wanted to show you guys today. We are actually doing an underbed notch on it, and this is a 2018 Silverado. He came in originally for like a dry shaft, and so this truck had an actual problem with it. He had a bent carrier bearing. The carrier bearing was, the way it was set, it was set where it was slightly at an angle, sort of like this. So whenever it would drive, it would rotate unevenly. Now we fixed that problem. And he also had a problem with the transmission leaking. Now we replaced the seal on it, but it still has a leaky transmission. Very light now compared to how it was before it was leaking like a motherfucker. Now it's like a sort of small leak every now and then. But we still have to get it fixed, so we have to figure out what the problem is next after we finish with the underbed notch, because we actually thought that it was done, that it was ready, and it wasn't going to leak anymore, but it's still leaking. So we got to take another look at it and see what's wrong with it. Maybe it's the yoke. I want to say it's the yoke because it's not the original yoke that it had on the transmission, but it could be something else. So we got to take a look at it after we're done with the underbed notch. We already pretty much took off the bed. Took off all the bed bolts, took off the bumper just so we didn't scratch the bed when we pulled it off. And we already have the notch set on there. So we got these notches from our buddies over at Reckless, and you know, we do a lot of collaboration work with them. So we got these notches pretty much ready to just slap on and weld, and we already pretty much weld them on. Now we got to cut the pieces off. So what we end up doing when we do the underbed notch, there's two types of notches. For the people who don't know really a lot about trucks, This is the underbed step notch. So a regular C-notch will go right here and it won't go above the bed. You can have an underbed C-notch or you can have an underbed step notch. Once you have this little hump, this pretty much means that you already upgraded to the underbed step notch. So that pretty much sets it to where you'll have more clearance than the regular C-notch, and you're going to have more strength because now this is a lot thicker, and plus this material is 1/4 inch, and the material that we're using is really nice. It cleans up really well. It's pretty much ready for you to just clean it up and weld. You don't have to take off all that extra slag or that little crust that the metal has, and it makes a big difference as far as the finish quality of the work, and you can definitely see it right away. So what we have to do now is just cut this inner piece right here, this whole inner section, cut that off, and then add the filler plates, and this truck is pretty much ready to go. And then we have to pretty much after that finish and fix to see what the problem is with the transmission. Now once we get this done, truck is ready to go, and in goes the purple truck. As far as that one goes, and as far as that one goes, they're both done. So once we get this one out, we'll put the purple truck in here and start tearing it apart. And hopefully the new setup, it's gonna be, man, it's gonna be so spicy, so nice. And it's gonna be able to handle even more power compared to how I have it now. So maybe later on we might add more stuff to it. Now that's done, on as far as the bed goes, we're just gonna have to trim this little piece that goes on top that covers from one side to the other, and we should be able to slap the bed back on. Let's go check out the bed. We got that bed out here, the shade, and that little bracket right there is we're gonna have to cut so that the notch can clear that section. And once we cut that on there, the bed should sit 100% level, 100% straight, no bulge. You don't have to cut through the actual floor of the bed. The floor stays stock. So with that underbed notch, it is a little bit more expensive, but definitely worth the quality, worth the strength. All right, guys, so we got the wheels back on. It's time to go outside, get close to the bed, cut the bed, and then slap it on. Alright guys, so we got the bed back on there. I did that shit by myself. Wasn't too hard with the engine hoist, but it always helps to have more people helping you. But we got the bed on. It looks real good. Looks like everything matches up really well. I got it bolted back on. All I have it is just pretty much just set on there right now. Once I bolt it down, it should work badass. And then we gotta go and check to see what's wrong with the transmission and why it keeps leaking the oil. But other than that, really that's the last thing we do. We gotta bolt up the fender and all that stuff too. But I'm just glad I got this bed on there before the end of the day. More than likely, I'll probably check the transmission stuff tomorrow. But that's gonna be on the next video. For now, we're just gonna end it now. I'm gonna end this video right here. And I'll leave you with that so that I don't have to worry about making the next video tomorrow. We'll do that on the next one. I'll just show you guys what I ended up fixing, and it looks real good so far, you know. So we just gotta put all the lug nuts on and all the bolts on together, bolt up the gas tank and hook up the lights and all that stuff. All that stuff is easy. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys what we did to this one. It's a really nice truck. It drives really well. After I fixed that problem with the vibration that it had before, it rolled real good. But now just that problem with the transmission leaking from the very tail shaft. But we're gonna get that fixed. I'm gonna try another seal. I'm gonna check to see what's the right yoke that needs to go on here, because the drive shaft that it has came with a new yoke, but I don't know if that yoke is too long or if it's too short. I can't tell exactly which yoke it had on there before, but we're gonna check that out just to make sure. And if it's the wrong yoke, we'll replace it. We'll put the smaller yoke. There is a long version and a short version. Right now it's got the long version. We'll try on the short version, see if that works. But we are gonna change out that seal just to make sure. We got ourselves an AC Delco one. This is the one that it had before, which is a national. So now we got ourselves, which is AC Delco, which is as close as it'll get to OEM. So with that being on there, it definitely shouldn't leak anymore. So with that, we're gonna end the video, guys. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't just yet. Make sure you guys hit that notification bell. Drop a like on this video. Comment on this video. Make sure you guys keep watching all the stuff that we drop. And don't forget to enter for the giveaway on the radio, tumbado.net. I have the link in the description below, so it's real easy for you guys to go and just click it. Go and cop the merch. We got decals, face masks, lanyards, a bunch of new stuff, a bunch of old stuff. Make sure you guys go and cop it, and we'll see you on the next one.
Hope you're aiming right. If I'm on site, I'm not afraid to die.
How you? Nah.
I'll be dressed in white.
White light.
White light.